what? It's not perfect. It's not perfectly aligned and not sized too. So let's drag this element a little bit on the horizontal. How can I do that? Maybe with this. Nope, it doesn't recognize this element. Auto wrap, uppercase, vivo, anchors on the top. I'm gonna add a little bit. There you go. Just a little bit on the top. I changed the top and Godot applied the modifications on the bottom for some reason. So let's just change the size and try again. There you go. It's not perfect, but don't worry. This is going to be perfectly aligned with our icon because these phrases, these options will be done the same way that I'm doing this indicator. So, we have our dialog done. I'm gonna change these label names. That's going to break my game, so I should change this label and only this label in here. So rename to actions. Doesn't need to be too fancy. Actions. There you go. Now, this UI is controlled by a script, not this script. So, this battle UI script. And now you can see somewhat how the select option works. So in the function, when we enter in combat mode, in the combat controller, we have a section that activates our battle UI somewhere around in here when we detect the enemies. Show battle UI, there you go. We have this emit signal that activates our UI, and this HUD becomes usable, and then we can select what action we want by this match index. I will need to create a custom setting for this. Hello there and welcome back. Glad to see you in here. So, continue my work. We have this selection, right? And for those who know a little bit of programming, when we add left column N, we are entering a paragraph on our text. And that paragraph will basically do a paragraph on our text, and that's why our selection works. So we have one single label, which is a 0. We are going to change that for an arrow later. We can change it right now, actually. An equal and plus this arrow. There you go. Just to make it fancier. For some reason, it didn't like to go fancier. Why? So we have this, I want this and this. Oh, it doesn't like for the size of it. Why you don't read this icon? It's kinda sad right now. It's actually funny because of the music makes this feel really sad. The text editor in Godot doesn't read this icon. And even with special columns, it doesn't want to read this special character. That's annoying. Anyway, we can keep it as an equal. I'm gonna find a solution later. So maybe like this. If this doesn't fix the issue, well, I'm going to need and find a solution for the next stream. Yep, it doesn't like to show the arrow. Doesn't matter, this is going to change for an icon anyway, so it doesn't matter. I see you are making a conversation in our chat. You are welcome. We have almost all the team in the chat, so you are welcome to talk with our team members. So right now I'm streaming on programming, so programming area, but if you are interested in knowing about the lore or art stuff, marketing, whatever, we have the stream, we have our members on stream, so you are free to ask anything you want that we are trying our best to answer. So, this selection doesn't want to show our arrow. We are kinda sad because of that, but doesn't matter. Let's start programming what we actually want to do. So we have the update HP potion. This is going to be done in a different way because we are going to change how our code works. So we have on combat index selected. This is to show our combat UI. This is the emitter that we have on combat controller. So when we emit this signal, show battle UI with the boolean true, we are calling the show battle UI on our script. So show battle UI on our script combat, which is this script combat. And then we receive a variable. In this case, it's a boolean, so true. We execute this at visible, which is going to get the visibility of this element and set it to true. And then call the script update HP potion amount. That's going to read all the potions that we have in our inventory and show the total that we can use in this combat. Maybe we have to put items in the summoning circle to summon him. Maybe. Select a function to summon our demon. So, moving on, we have update things, index selected things, set selection. There you go. What we want is to create a new function, and that function will work directly on this set selection. But right now we need to create a new variable. And this variable will be a variable called actions. And those actions will be equal to a specific array that's going to contain every single line to construct the phrase that we want to show our message. And by phrase I want to say a string. So we have a lot of strings. For those who don't know, a string is it's like a phrase. It's a list of characters, and a list of characters can build phrase. Those phrases will be responsible to construct our actions. So let's build them. The first phrase will be to indicate quick attack. Exactly the same thing that we have implemented in this label. So we have quick attack, heavy attack, health potion and drain. So to make things easier, I'm going to copy paste what we have indicated in this label. There you go. I'm going to create every single element inside columns, quotes in this case, to indicate they are strings. There you go. They must be separated by columns. And now we have our list of strings. So this is returning an error because our list is done incorrectly. So go.array. Well, my list is done correctly. What you want? There's a variable. There you go. Spelling mistakes. I shouldn't make value, I should indicate variable. I'm programming in GD script, not in PHP or other programming language. So we have our list. I don't need the dot column. Godot doesn't care about that. What I really need though is to add a break line for each and every option. So there is a special character that adds a break line to our text. There you go. We have quick attack, heavy attack, health potion and drain. I'm going to add a new one that's going to be the skip turn. So skip turn. And this is going to be the new feature that we are going to introduce in our combat system. Yes, don't worry, this is just developing. Of course there's going to be a lot of errors. later on we are going to change that by optimizing the code. So we have quick attack, heavy attack, health potions. I have removed the 0, the counter in here, because we are going to change the way we count the amount of health potions we have in our inventory. So we have the special indications to count the amount of health potions we have and to change a specific label that we have in our canvas. The thing is, we are now going to construct our message of actions by an array, and because of that, the method that we are going to update the amount of health potions we have, it's going to be a little different. So for now, that count will be disabled, but then we are going to access this specific line and then add the amount of health potions we have in our inventory. It's a different method to do the same thing, but that needs to be implemented later after we have updated our method of showing our actions. So we have our actions menu set. Now we need a way to show those specific actions, and when we ready, when our script and our object becomes ready, so when our when this battle UI gets enabled, and right now it's not on ready, it is on set visibility, because it's when our character enters in combat mode with this show battle UI signal. So when we enter in combat mode, we have set the visibility, updated the HP potion amount. That's basically not going to do nothing right now, so I can just comment that. And then we want to update the actions we have into our new label actions. So to do that, we need to access, first off, we don't need to access anything. We need to create a new variable that's going to construct our string with the first 4 strings that we have in this array. So the first 4 actions that we have added in this array will be the first 4 that's going to be shown in our actions label. But just to test that the label is working with this array and not with anything else, I'm going to execute the game with the update of this label. So first we need to access the label by using the $, then texture rect, we enter in the horizontal box container, then we find our first vertical box container, and inside this vertical box container we are going to find these actions. And in these actions we can now enter the text attribute of this node and then change this to a string. Now I need to create a special string to send every single value that we have in our array actions. And for that, before this, I'm going to create a custom variable, and this custom variable will be the actions str from actions string, and this action string will be equal to will be not equal to nothing, it's just initialized. Now I'm going to color for each cycle. I'm going to need to check the documentations of our Godot. So Godot for each cycle. to check if there's a special thing to make the for each cycle. There isn't. It's called for item in actions. For item in actions, I'm going to tell actions str plus equal to this item. Do you need something more? Parse error. So this is returning a name because I can't simply add something in here. Let's just try to make this variable a string. The error doesn't go away. Now, checking the go.documentation, concatenate string. More specific, concatenate array. Array appends. I don't want that. I want the previous, so concatenate strings and integers. So how we do that? So we have two variables, x and y, and this x and y set text, and then inside our function set text. There you go. Good. I've learned how to do it. So this will be equal to the function set underscore text, and inside in here I will get the entirety of this object plus our string, which is going to be item. There we go. And now our label will be equal to our actions str. And this should update the thing. But it is still annoyed. Set text isn't declared in the current class. Now, you don't want to use the set text. Oh, I need to indicate this as str. So this is an str, and this is an str object. Now, you are still going to be annoyed. Why? Why are you annoyed by this function? So learning new things. This should be easy, but this doesn't want to be. This doesn't want to cooperate. So gd script concatenate string. So label set text. So there is a label, I want to set text, and then I indicate the text that I want to set. Let me check if this accepts. There you go. Annoyance. Now it should work right away. Clear this red output. No one needs to see that amount of errors. Let's just assume that didn't happen. Now, checking if this is going to work. Now, cross fingers, cross fingers. This should appear exactly like this in this list. So, entering combat mode, and there you go. It's not perfectly aligned. It's not perfectly aligned, but it's working as we want. Now we have 5 options. Now, there is something in here that shouldn't supposed to be in here. This is null. We need to initialize this variable, otherwise it will appear as null. So I'm going to initialize this variable empty. There you go. This space, it's because our selection menu doesn't have an extra space. There you go. It's still jumping around. Let's add an extra space. It's still annoyed. Why? Why are you still annoyed? Why you don't like to have the space when you start that? Well, it doesn't matter. We'll do it next. So, you can't reach skip turn? Yes, we can't reach skip turn because we haven't implemented that, and right now we only can select 4 actions. Gun drop, I'm gonna go for now. See you later. Have a nice day. Thank you. You too. Hopefully, see you next week. I don't know who's going to stream. Probably someone of our team. So I hope you enjoy it. And see you later. So, getting back to our code. Now, we have 4 actions, right? But right now we have a list of 5. And we can't reach the skip turn for a special reason. Because we don't have the action selected in the right place. So right now we only have 4 selections, right? And these 4 selections we'll need to check special positions. So let's just open the good old Paint to explain how this is going to work. So let's just assume that we have 4 options, right? So we have the quick attack, heavy attack, we have the health potion, and the drain. So we have these options right now that we can select. And we have our selector, which is a O or a 0. 0 is more useful. So we have a 0, right? Now we need to check if the position of this icon is in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd or 4th position. And the 4th position, when we are in the 4th position, right now, if we select to go to the 5th position, what's going to happen is this position, the icon position, is going to return to the 1st. This is the code that we have implemented right now, but we are going to change that. So if we detect we are in the 4th position, what's going to happen? the code is not going to update the position of the icon to the first, it's going to update the entire text of our actions. And what's going to happen, it's going to update our list to remove this quick attack. It's going to push this message up, and it's going to add the skip turn. And that's what's going to happen. Or probably what we want to happen. So let's see some message. Created via Paint. Well, Paint is a quick tool for us to think about our programming, so it's very useful. Yes, it's trash to create art, but very useful for everything else. Like the Bob Ross. That will be funny. Maybe I update the bongo cat thing that we have in the corner to have my face looking more like a Bob Ross. Anyway, let's try to implement these features. So I don't want to save this. Don't save. What I want to do is to change this match index. So how we are going to change this index to implement that feature? So we need to go back to our combat controller, and combat controller should have an emitter that calls this set selection, which is this set selection. So combat controller set selection should be somewhere, I hope. Where is she? Set selection. Where is she? She's not here. Crap. Now she is dead, and we are stuck with the two faces. So it's not set selection, is index selected. Index selected. There you go. There we go. It's in here. So we have the print selected, which is not printing anymore. I should update this code to be more friendly. It's not printing anymore. So what we want, we have the action index. This action index should no more goes in this limit. So where I update this, I update the action index in here in our code. So we have the enter, we don't care about this, we care about the action selection. There you go. Right now we have a limit of actions, and this limit should be updated for the amount of actions we have in our code. Right now we are going to have 5 actions. I'm going to update this to 5 actions. Now we have 5 actions, so when I update our actions, going to call this function print selected, which is going to execute this match action index. For those who don't know GDScript, this match is exactly the same thing as the switch case. So match actions, we have only 4. I'm going to add a 5th one. So now we have a fifth one, which is going to call our index selected with 5 inputs. So now we have 5 inputs. And this should also have an action. So inside our action index, which is the code of our combat system, inside our combat system we have a ton of actions. So we have this quick damage. I'm going to add a comment just for everyone not to be lost. So quick attack. The second action is the heavy attack. The third one is the health potion. In this case, use health potion. And the fourth one is basically drain. Now we are going to add a new one, so a fifth one. There you go. A fifth one. This is not going to be the drain, it's going to be the skip turn. And the skip turn is not going to change anything in our parent. It's not going to change anything. It's going to skip this turn. Now, how can I change the turn? So when I do enter, I enter my turn and I want to change it. So I am in combat, I have HP, I will no longer have haste, I will no longer be in my turn. So we need to change these two variables. So let's go back to our skip turn. So the haste and the turn will now be equals to false. We are no longer in our turn. And we should change the stamina. So where is the modifier for our SP, which is the getParent.sp. Minus equals to remove some, in this case we are going to gain SP, so it's important for us to check and gain the SP. So how much we are going to gain in XP from 0 to 100. This is the time of the stream that we are going to our balancing lists. So let's just check, where is my folder? So content, not this one, UGS, Eksauria. We want our data, items, and game data. I believe it's this one. So let's just check if this is the one. Just gonna close some scripts because I should hide them. Now we have the game data. This game data has a lot of parameters. Let's just check if we have some skip turn. There you go. We have a parameter for skip turn, and if we skip turn we are going to gain 50 points of stamina. So let's just see if chat is chat. Let's just developing this game together. How much you think we should give Scarlet in stamina points to set in this value? So if Scarlet skips a turn, how much should she gain in stamina back? 69. 69. Let's just see more answers. So chat want the nice number. Max stamina right now is 100. We can see that by saying the Scarlet default values, which is the max XP is 100. But then this number can change by leveling up. This function is not implemented yet because we don't have a next character. Can I talk about our Lord and Savior Rainer? Well, basically we are going to have an NPC that's going to increase our stats, making our game more RPG-like, and then by leveling up we can select, for example, if we want vitality, endurance, speed and strength, and the more endurance we have, the more SP we are going to gain, so to speak. So the max XP is going to increase by endurance. Now we can create a modifier that can also increase this skip value. So if we skip, we gain instead of 50 points, we can gain 50 points plus the modifier of endurance in this skill, but things that we are going to see later. So chat has said the nice number, so let's just add the nice number, 69. So skip gives 69 XP in regen. So let's just go back to Godot. So remembering, this is in the stamina, so game data, stamina, skip. And we also want the max XP. Max XP is already set when we open the game. So in our player controller, we have the max XP. Right now it's by default we have the 100, but this value is updated by our balancing sheet, which is this file. So when we start this game, we have the max XP, which is going to go to this JSON data, because this is a JSON structure data. Then it enters in our game data, which is the game data file. And then Scarlet default, max XP, so on, so forth. But this is the place that we are going to change and give the modifiers to for the level ups and so on. This is going to be done in the later day. Right now, what we want is these values right here. Not this specifically, I'm going to change these values, but going back in the get parent SP in our new skill. So I'm going to add the modifier to our XP regeneration. So this is on JSON data inside our game data. By the way, if you are interested in see this code, we have a specific script that creates this, that reads the data from these files and gets these balancing sheets. This is used the same way to create save datas. We are going to see this later when I stream the bonfire features. So stay tuned and give us a follower to see that development. So we want specifically the game data. So in the game data, we want to enter the stamina section. So we want stamina, and inside stamina we want to know the value that we are going to regen, which is the skip value, that being the 60, the nice number. So right now the XP has regen 69. But there is a special problem. Let's just assume that our XP right now is at 100 and we skip a turn. If we skip a turn, we are going to gain more 69 of stamina. We are going to go above the size of our bar. We don't want that. We want to keep it at 100. So let's just check if this is working. So we have a ton of things to check right now. The first thing is to see if we can select the skip turn feature. We can. We can't because of something specific. Remembering that set selection on our UI, we have updated the logic code, but we haven't updated the visual code. So the visual code of our battle UI. We need to update our label. So now we have 5 actions. So let's just create a new one. So we have the action 5. I'm going to add a new break line. Right now we can basically select the skip turn, as we can see. It's not perfectly aligned, but we can change this later. So we have the quick attack, heavy attack, health potion, drain and skip turn. I'm going to attack an heavy attack, so spend a little bit of our stamina. It's at max again. Okay, I'm going to restart the game because if we have a ton of enemies, the regen is going to kick in and we don't want that. We want to spend a little bit of our stamina. So, being the stamina, this green bar, let's just spend a little bit. There you go. Now, let's just try our skip turn. You didn't see it right away because it didn't update the bar, but let's try it again. Skip turn. And now the bar is set to max, but the problem is behind this code, even if our bar is kept at 100, we have way more than 100. So how can I show this? So let's just go back to our script in here. When I skip this turn, I should update our bar. So how we do that? There you go. We have a function specialized for that, which is the stamina changer, to update our stamina bar. So let's just update our bar. So we have the 5. We are running the stamina change function inside our parent, and parent is the player controller. So let's just search for that function. So stamina changed, and in the stamina changed we are going to emit the signal stamina changed to SP, and this stamina changed, it's going to go to the HUD, stamina changed, update stamina, and when we update stamina we are getting the player max stamina, which is a function that reads the, basically it's going to read the amount of stamina that player has and update it in the UI. So we have this, stamina changed, XP, update stamina, where is it? We have the minus changed, we have the, it's right below, and I even use glasses. So we are changing the value of the stamina point bar to the value that we have sent. There is a difference. We have the value and we have the max value. So the max value is at 100, but the value is going to be bigger. So even though the stamina bar is kept at 100, we are going to have even more points that we should. And we don't want that. So when we call this stamina changed, we want to check if we are at max SP, and if we are at max SP, then we are going to change the value to 100. So let's go to our player controller when we call this stamina changed, which is this value, stamina changed, and then we are going to check if we have more than the max XP. So if stamina points are bigger than max stamina points, and we should check if we are using the correct names, so max XP and SP. So we are using the correct names. So if stamina points are bigger than max stamina points, then stamina points will be equal to the max stamina points. And now, if we skip a turn and regen stamina, we are going to be kept at max stamina points. Right? So let's just check that. Very simple. Doing an heavy attack, some parries, and now if I skip a turn, I'm at max points, but there you go. Yes, it's going to be a while until we balance this correctly. That's why I've used a random number, like the nice number suggested by the chat. But don't worry, all these values are going to be balanced later on when we test things and have the feeling for the game. So, I wanted to update our actions and update this menu, but I have implemented the skip turn instead. Well, that's progress. That's progress. The last thing that we are going to do in this stream is to update this menu to just show 4 actions. So, I need to check again this value. And we are going to see a different way to show our menu. So, we are going to update this menu the same way that I have explained it before on Paint, which is checking if we are on the last place, and if we are on the 4 and want to go further, so we have the position of our icon, which is a 0, which is this index of our action, and based on that position we are going to select what we want in the HUD. So how the hell I'm going to do that? So I need a variable. Let's just check this var. So pos from position, and this position will be equal to 1 by default. So right now when we open our UI, our battle UI, we are going to be in position 1. This is very important. This is how we are going to control our position. Vars, it's variables. So it's like objects that store a value. So this is going to be a little different, because we are going to update not only the label, but we are going also to update what we have written in our actions menu. So if our match index is in the position 1, and we are going to need to call another function, let's just check. So I'm trying to think on a way that we are going to change this logic. So this is going to go to another place. If I do this, I don't want to erase it. I want to comment this area, this specific area. So I have forgot how to comment a bunch of lines, so I'm going to do it just like this. And then there you go. Now we have an index. So if position is 4, delete top row and add the bottom row. Yes, it's something like that. But it's going to update specifically, because we can then return back, you know. So we need to check if we have more options selected or not. So right now I don't have, we need to change the error. So what you are telling, so expected block in pattern branch. What do you want? Want this? There you go. It's not bothering me anymore. So if our index is in 4 position, and not 4 but in 5 position, because it's the new position, then our position, even better, we need to change this to something else. So our position, let's create an if our index it's equal to the 5th position, then our 4 position, so position stays in 4, equals to 4. So first off, I need to indicate our position will be equals to the index. So pos it's equal to index. And then if our index is bigger than 4, it will be in the 4th position, but it's going to show another text, which is going to be, so we have the line 4, and we are going to update the actions using this beautiful thing in here. This in here. So let's just set it in the right place. So we want this in the 4th position. We want this for cycle needs to be changed. So gd script for cycle. I want to set this for cycle specifically. And this for cycle will be for a number in a range. And this range will be from position 1 to 5. And let's just check if this range function includes the 5 or not. So if we using range and do print, so 0 to 7 using range, it's going to go to 8, loop from, and 10 to 12. So the range number, it's not counting the max number, so we need to set it to 6. Now this for loop, it's not working as intended, because we need to set this str, and this str is going to be equals to the string of our variable plus the string inside our actions in the position n. There you go. And then we update the list and it's done. So we have this, we have this. We can have this working, why not? Why not have our switch case working as intended? Except this 5th action. So if it's not 4, I'm going to set a default. And just do nothing, or no? Do I want to set something? I guess I want. Default is going to do this. Who cares? You don't like default, so gd script match. So what you want in match? For the default value you want, what do you want? So for default value I indicate an underscore. There you go. Now you are not pissing me off. So in position 1 we have this, 2, 3, 4 and next. Okay, now we need to change something. No, we don't need to change nothing. Let's just test how it's working right now. Bang. It's given us an error, an invalid get index 5 on base array. So there isn't a number 5. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the number 5 was correct. It's given us an out of bounds error. Now it should work as intended. So as we can see, the skip turn has been updated. So we need to change this code, which is the code that updates the start thing on the bottom, because we don't want to show every single action. And we don't need this position thing, we don't need this, we don't need this. When we start this UI, we don't need this. The only thing we need is this action. So build the first 4 actions, so 0 to 4. In this case, we can just set it to range 4. I believe it's 4 or 5. It's 4, right. And then, if I go above to the 5th position, it should update the UI, removing the quick attack and adding the skip turn on the bottom. There you go. It's working! Yay! And it's going to do the action. There you go. So for every turn, I'm probably gonna change it to be the first one. So it's important to update the HUD itself. But for now, we have the skip turn. So we have the first actions. There you go. I need to go back in the combat controller, and for every turn I want to change the action index to 1. So for every action, let's just check it. For every turn, I want to find the code of my turn. So if enemy size blah blah blah, get parent haste, enemy turn 0, emit signal, show battle UI true, check XP and heavy attack. So if we are in our turn, we are going to do this, else get parent end of turn. This is the turn of our character. This is to check if we have enemies. So if enemy turn equals to the enemy size, or enemy turn equals to 5, parent now is going to have haste, enemy turn to 0, show battle UI, and before we show the battle UI, we are going to action index will be equals to 1. Will be in the first action. And by being in the first action, we need to update our battle UI. So when we do that, we need to call a print selected, which is going to update our position. There you go, emit signal, index selected to 1. We can even do directly this. So we can go directly to the code in here. So action index is going to be the 1. We are going to update our position to the action index, which is going to be 1. And we are going to show our battle UI. So for every turn, the actions should go back to the action 1. And then we go on, there's the checking for enemies, so on and so forth.